So we're going to start the indexing base. When I look at this problem, I want to look at a few key items here. I'm going to want to locate the center of this circle. I'm going to want to locate the center point of this circle. And I'm going to want to locate the center of this circle. There's a few ways to do this, but I'm going to go through, I think, which is the simplest way, and we're going to get started. So first I'm going to start with the circle. Let's start with the circle diameter. Since the diameter was given to us at 1.5, I'm going to just go ahead and use that. I'm going to type in 0, 0 for the starting point, and now I'm going to specify 1.5 for the diameter. The next circle is right here. This is a 3-inch radius, so I'm going to go ahead and click on circle radius. Starting at the same center point, now I can easily snap to my center of the first circle, so I'm going to just go ahead and type in 3. No need for adding the 0.00 on the end of that. So next we're going to locate the centers of these two circles here. We need to look at the information that we've been given. We know that the radius for this circle is 4 inches, so we can literally draw a 4-inch circle, and then we can draw the lines here to intersect. That's one easy way. Or we can draw a line from the start point, the center point of the circle, 4 inches long, because it's a 4-inch radius, with the specified angle, and it will give us an endpoint where to put that circle. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the line command. Go into the quadrant of the circle, and I'm going to draw a line that's 4 inches long, because that is the radius. I'm going to hit my tab button, and now I'm going to calculate the angle. So the angle is 30 degrees after the 90-degree angle, so that's going to be 90 plus 30 to give us a total of 120. And that is where that center point is going to be located. So we just located this center point of that circle. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom here. So we've got to look at the angle. So we're 60. But in AutoCAD, we start this over to the right at 0. So 0 to 90, and 90 plus 60 gives us an angle of 150. So I'm going to go back to the line, start from that center point, type in the 4 inches because we're still on that 4-inch radius, tab 150 for the angle. Oops, I did not pull my mouse to the bottom, so let's undo that and make sure we point down. 4, tab 150, and there we go. So notice I had to pull my mouse down in order to get the angle to calculate from the right-hand side and then go to the bottom of the angles. So let's move that over, and now let's start locating the circles here. So I've got to look to locate either the radius or the diameter. So looking through this problem here, I see that I'm dimensioned here between the two circles at 1.5 inches. So that tells me that that is the diameter of those two circles. So I'm going to go back to circle diameter. I'm going to locate one of those circles here on the end, 1.5. And I'm going to do that again on the other endpoint. And that is located. Now, when I look at creating this next arc here, I've got a couple of options. I can take this 4-inch radius and add half of the 1.5, which would be 0.75. I can make that circle. So 4 plus 0.75 is 4.75. And that gives me the correct location for the outside circle. And I can do that again for the inside. So 4 minus 0.75, which is the radius, is 3.25. So that gives me those two circles tangent to that circle there. That is one way of doing it. Another way of doing this would also be just selecting a point on your circle where it's tangent. Okay, so I could use my tangent object snap. So I hit shift button and right mouse button and go tangent. do that again here. Shift, right mouse button, tangent, and I get the same thing. Oops, pick that circle there. So there's always a couple ways of doing things in AutoCAD. You just need to probably, establish what you're most familiar with and go with that. And I think you'll find it's easy enough to find one of the ways that you can kind of relate to as you're creating these. So I trimmed that up. Just using your trim command, you should be familiar with that at this point. So now I'm going to look at the next circle that I've got to put out here. That has a radius of 2. So circle radius, same center point. So I'm going to be picking the end point. I just want to make sure I get that end point. I was zoomed out a little bit, so I don't want to mess that up. So I have that as a 2. And then we have another circle here that is a radius of 6. So back to the same center point, radius of 6. Or you could do tangent to that circle. But now with that radius of 6, you see your tangent here and your tangent up here at the top, which makes for trimming perfectly. If you go to trim this and it does not trim, then you may have an error on that. So you may need to go back and look and make sure that you have all of your points located correctly, because that 6-inch radius should tie those two circles together perfectly. So the next thing I have left to do is this inside arc here. All right, I'm looking at, I have a center point. I don't know where that center point is located. I do know that it's a radius of 1. I know it's tangent to this circle. I know it's tangent to this circle. So knowing that this is tan, and the radius. So knowing those 3 pieces of information, I can come back over here and create that circle. Before I do that, I am going to erase these 2 lines. I don't need those anymore. So tan radius, tangent to the inside of this circle, trying to keep the tangent point to this inside of the circle, specifying the radius as 1 will give us that circle, and we're going to just finish now by trimming off the rest of this information. So I'm going to go through here and just trim that out. There we go. So that is the end of our indexing base, and you can save that.